Hey, what's going on, you guys? Today we're going to be checking out my Snap-on thermal imager. Now, this thing's pretty neat. Every time I bust this out in the shop, people look, they're like, what the heck is that? Why do you need that? And is it worth it? Really quickly, if you don't know what it is, pretty much you can have a thermometer, sort of like a fluke, that you point at a heat signature and it'll tell you just how hot it is. That's the gist of it. Except now with technology, we can actually have the image itself so you can see exactly where that heat is coming from and really get the whole picture of everything. So for those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Raymond. I'm a heavy diesel mechanic, but I also sell stickers and magnets on the side for toolboxes on Etsy. You know, just little stuff like this. I'm once again asking for your financial support, quoted by Toolbox. So, little Bernie spinoff. I find it fun. If it's something you're into, link in the description down below. So first things first, I'm sure everybody wants to know the price tag, and yes, these things are expensive. I didn't pay that much. No, I'm not paying over $1,000 something just to get an image on an LCD to make this thing come together. That's a bit too much money. It's more of a niche product where I couldn't justify it. But someone paid that, and then they put it on eBay for about a third of the price. I believe I paid like $400, which is still quite a bit of money, but I wanted it, so I got it. I'm not paying $1,200, but yeah, $400 still hurts, but it's paid off. It's not in debt, so make sure you guys are actually keeping up with good habits. Don't get in debt with the tool truck. But you're not here to hear me talk about finances. This is more of an automotive channel. Let's go ahead and open this bad boy up and see what's inside. So I don't know who the previous owner was, but he kept this thing. I mean, he probably just never used it, to be honest with you. It still even has the plastic packaging for the screen protector. So check this out. At the top of the screen, we have a little flap here, and this is where your USB would go. But not only that, if you notice, there's little micro SD memory card slot. So you can put all your images right in this area. And obviously this cable right here is what you would hook up to your computer in case you wanted to upload your images. So this is the layout of the thermal imager. You have your power button right here, no for navigating the menus, yes for navigating the menus, and obviously your directions right around that yes button, and the menu. So this is what it looks like when you turn it on. It's pretty neat the way it can pretty much detect heat and how it really makes the picture come to life. You can't get this with a regular thermometer. You just look at a number and it'll say 86 degrees. But because this is a thermal imager, obviously you can see me. So yeah, it's a neat tool. I mean, you bust this out in the shop, people are going to start saying, what is that? Oh man, you don't need that. Or wow, that's cool, but how much was it? Or how can I get it? And then when you tell them the price, well, I got it for this price, but you can get it for $1,200. That's when the novelty pretty much goes away. So yeah, if you have a tool allowance coming up in your company and they'll give you like $600 to $1,200, whatever the tool allowance is, then hey, maybe you can pick this up if you have everything else you need. But what's pretty neat is that, like I said earlier, it does come with a SD card up here. Well, it doesn't come with an SD card, but you're able to put one in there. So all the images you take, you can save them. So I'm going to show you guys right now how to navigate the menu. So you just hit the menu button. And if you don't really know how to use this for your desired application, it has tips on how you can really make the most of this device. So here are just a couple tips that Snap-on recommends. Let's say alternator bearing, and they'll give you examples. So what is known to be good, what is known to be bad. So a good bearing will look more or less like this once this tip gets out of the way. So that'll be a good bearing. It's known to be good according to Snap-on. And a known bad bearing, you notice how there's all this heat up in this area? So that's where this is going to come in handy. Again, do you need the thermal imager? No, but as you can see, it makes it so much easier identifying bad parts. And they have so many other tips on their menu. I'll show you guys some pictures that I ended up taking, so let's show you that. So this is how I specifically used this tool at work, and it did come in clutch. We were wondering why there was shimmy on the steering system, and well, you can start tearing stuff apart to start examining it, or you could pull out this tool. And as you can see, the rotor after a road test was about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but you look at the curbside rotor and it's like, holy crap, that thing's 63 degrees hotter. So, and already just with that image, you already know there's either a stuck caliper or no pressure going to that caliper. Maybe the brake chamber failed on the other side or is beginning to fail and it has so much less pressure, then, you know, it just lets you start wandering. But you can at least confirm and show whoever it is that you need to report to is, look, this is what I found. So that was pretty cool. Especially when people ask, well, how do you know? Oh, well, I'm glad you asked. And then you bust this out. Yeah, it looks dorky, like, look what I got. But at the same time, there's always like this grin when they see you bust out this tool and you have proof of what you found. So it's funny. If you get this for the right price, or maybe get one on Amazon, then that would be great. Do you absolutely need one of these? No, because this was just one of those situations where it just happened. I mean, a lot of the time I really don't use this because it's all pretty self-explanatory when things break. But for this specific instance with me, yeah, it saved me from having to actually tear this thing apart before I found out what was wrong with it. I would have found out eventually anyway, because you're gonna see what evidence there is, obviously, as you go through your diagnosing process. But it makes things just very clear that, hey, there's heat where there isn't supposed to be, or there's just way more heat on one side over the other. So I'll admit, having this thing is pretty neat. I mean, I'm looking at some of the events that happened throughout this year, and it's just neat being able to look back at some of the work you were diagnosing and what issues you had. It paints a picture. So if anything, this thing doesn't just become a tool, it also becomes a memory device, because you realize all the stuff you've diagnosed over the years. But yeah, as far as this image right here, we had a tire that the inside was wearing out. So yeah, I went to go check out the heat signatures. Why not? I had just gotten done with a road test. So, you know, that was, I believe this was street side and this was curbside. So yeah, as you can see, this one has a more decent run patch. And this one was way more on the inside. As you can see, that outside is not getting any traction because it's really cold compared to the rest of the tire. And then you have this one that is more along the middle where it should be. You don't want to get too crazy because then you just have a bald middle tire, but I believe this one was fine if I remember correctly. So yeah, it's almost like your own garage vlogger or journal, whatever you want to call it, every time you take a picture, because it's going to store it. And well, when you look back through your pictures, yeah, to someone else, they're just heated images, but to you, you know what you worked on, when you worked on, and it kind of just brings back memories. So that was actually pretty cool looking at some of these images from back then. So it's pretty funny because when I pulled this out of my toolbox and I was bringing it home, I figured, yeah, I'll just make a video about just the thermal imagers, you know, the basics, and whether they should pick it up or not. But having gone through all the images on that micro SD card, like I said, it is actually pretty cool that it documents some of your work history, because it's all the stuff that we kind of lose track of. But then when we look back, we're like, oh yeah, that was cool. That was cool how this helped me in this and X, Y, and Z, and I remember who was there and all that stuff. So yeah, maybe I'm getting a little too mushy over a dang thermal imager, but it was neat. Gave me a past of this past year and how much I've learned and how much stuff I've done. So it's cool. Sorry, I know it's just a little side story about me, but you're here for the thermal imager. Should you pick it up? Well, rainbows and butterflies aside, it is expensive. $1,200, like I said. I personally wouldn't spend $1,200 on a thermal imager. That is way too much. But if you can find one on eBay for around $300 to $400, then I do recommend it, because it is a neat tool. So long as you have the rest of your bases covered, where you're not, you know, you have your extended ratchets, you have pretty much just have all the tools you need. If you have all the tools you need to do your job, and you have money left over to pick up some novelty gift that it does help, but you're not going to use it every day, then go for it. Especially if you get it for a good deal. Personally, like I said, it's hard to justify buying that new, but eBay is also a risk. You never know if someone's marketing it as very well maintained, but they beat the crap out of it. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that video. I mean, I took a blast down memory lane. I took a little run down memory lane. Oh my god, my mechanic years, they're so fun, so glamorous. But then again, when you're in the diagnostic process, you're like, this sucks. So it's fun times. But that concludes this video. Again, you can check out my Etsy shop in the description down below. And if you want to stick around, you can go always subscribe, look at some of my other videos. You know, right now I'm on a run on making videos because, well, the channel's new. So I'm really trying to fill up a catalog, but not just junk, but, you know, something that you can binge on. Eat some Cheetos or something. I'm going to pretend like I didn't eat some before this video. But anyway, I'll talk to you guys later. Have a good one.